Folks, welcome to Werewolf Radar, the world's premier paranormal preparedness skateboarding podcast. My name is Jordan Dahl.
I am Roger Norquist.
Today's episode of Werewolf Radar is brought to you by Monstroko Gardens presents The Final Apple. After centuries-long war between warring apple tribes, a champion has emerged. Soaked in the generational blood of its slain forebears, this deep crimson 4-pound monstrosity is the last apple you'll ever need. We guarantee it. The Final Apple by Monstroko.
What if I eat it?
You can eat it.
Okay.
You should eat it.
It is for powering up. I thought it could also be for throwing at the boss.
You could use the you could throw the apple at the boss. But then there's a chance that whoever you're fighting could catch it and eat the final apple, the last apple in existence, the strongest apple, and then they would get whatever benefits are conferred there.
Gotcha.
Instead of you. So I think you eat the apple. It does cost $4 billion. There's only one.
All right. Limited market.
Sure, but could you imagine being the person who eats the final apple? The ultimate answer to the apple equation? Nobody knows what will happen. The final apple from Monstroko Gardens. Be the first to eat the last. I'm going to go first. Can I go
Do
first?
it. Take the skull.
I will take the skull. I'm going to roll it around in the palms of my hands until it warms up. And then I'm going to place it on my knee and stroke it gently like an evil cat while I tell you all about fairies.
Oh,
that's right. We're back in the realm of fairies. I love fairies. I respect fairies. I fear fairies.
it's the one thing I think you believe in. We all have something. Like, we might not be Christian or whatever proper.
I believe in...
But it seems you have a good belief that fairies are real and around us.
I believe in the existence of a kind of an energy... what did the lady from Long Island Medium call it? An energy ecosystem. And I think that what we call fairies, what we call angels, what we call gnomes,
yes,
goblins, and whatevers could be expressions of this energy ecosystem, elementals, you could call them. You know, whatever they end up being, whatever they are, I think that our folklore is an interesting lens through which to view them. But yeah, I do think that's in my heart of hearts that it's connected to some sort of reality.
I've always enjoyed that.
Yes, I enjoy it as well, which is why when I don't have much of an idea for the week, I go straight to fairies. What do you know about fairies?
I know what you have taught me about them. They can be expressions of a world we don't understand.
Yeah.
I also know them as pointy teeth things with wings that sometimes crave human flesh.
Pointy-toothed winged guys. Yeah, what is when we're kids, what is our first kind of introduction to fairies?
Tinkerbell.
Sure.
Tinkerbell for me.
Tinkerbell. And she's kind of cantankerous. They don't show her as a pushover in the Disney.
So she's far from a pushover for sure. She's willing to fight for Peter. That's her man.
Yeah. She's incredible. Tinkerbell stands, rise up.
That's going to be the title of this episode.
So, yeah, fairies in the kind of Celtic fairy religion, which is just, the spirituality of the people who lived in a sort of an undeveloped British Isles, conquered, some would say, but that wove kind of fairies into their religion. It wasn't all about them, but they were sort of the angels of the whole affair, and demons, they were the spiritual entities of the whole thing. And one of the most important things about them is that there are two different kinds. There are good fairies and bad fairies,
okay,
more or less. You might find somebody who's riding the line, a grumpy old gnome or a red cap who doesn't want to stomp on people anymore. But more or less, they fall into one of these two camps. And I found it's called the Seelie court is the good guys.
Okay, the Sealy Court.
Sealy court. There are two courts. The Sealy court and the unsealy court.
Oh, that's easy to remember.
Right, and you can kind of think of it as happy and unhappy. Although I did see a breakdown of it, of the word Sealy kind of feeling like silly, where it's like silly fairies, and then there are very unsilly fairies. So I found a good article. I've always kind of wondered, what I don't know. I wanted some more information on the fairy courts.
Yes. It has that tinge of what other cultures have, is they, powerful beings on a council deciding fates of us at times.
Sure. Mm-hmm. So I found a good website called seasonoferth.com.
Ooh.
It says all things nature, slow living, and folklore, which is pretty cool, to be honest. But they have a website, a blog post about this very thing, Sealy versus unsealy fairy courts. And we're going to talk about that starting now. In Scottish folklore, fairies are divided into two courts, the Sealy and the unsealy court. These courts are seen as opposing forces like winter and summer. In fact, sometimes you hear them called the summer court and the winter court. Fairies are designated as Sealy or unsealy based on their behavior towards humans and whether they've fallen out of favor with the broader Sealy court. This post discusses the meaning of the terms Sealy and unsealy and provides examples of Scottish fairies from each category. So, Sealy fairies are typically indifferent or good-natured towards humans. So if they don't care, we consider that Sealy.
Yeah, consider that a win.
Very Sealy. While unsealy fairies are typically malevolent. Some unsealy fairies have began as members of the Sealy court but were exiled for their dishonorable behavior.
Okay.
So, some attributes of Sealy fairies. They are indifferent, kindly, or mischievous toward humans. They are associated with spring and summer. They are held in positive favor with the Sealy court. And Sealy means happy, blessed, holy, and good. Unsealy fairies are malevolent, hostile, or outright dangerous towards people.
Like they're coming for me. They woke up today and chose magical violence.
Your gerblins, Steven Seagal. They are associated with autumn and winter. They've been exiled or fallen from the Sealy court. And unsealy means unholy, unblessed, or evil doing. So the Sealy court is a group of fairies and other mythological creatures who are good-natured to humans and unconcerned with them. Some Sealies may lend a hand with household chores or even perform acts of heroism, such as when the Gilly-Doo saved a lost girl named Jessie from the woods. And I would like to take a moment to Google each of these.
Yeah.
Let's find out who the Gilly-Doo is.
I bet the Gilly-Doo does not wear shoes, but has a hat.
The Gilly-Doo is a hunk.
Oh, so no clothes at all.
The Gilly-Doo is a solitary male fairy described in Scottish folklore. He was said to be dark-haired and clothed in leaves and moss, from which the ghillie suit got its name. He appears primarily in accounts from the late 18th century, living in a birchwood in the northwest Highlands of Scotland. He is said to be fiercely protective of the forests from outsiders, but with accounts of him treating children with kindness. And then there's a picture of him, and he's got like his shirt open.
Damn, like Gilly Fabio.
Gilly-Doo is right. Saved a lost girl named Jessie from the woods. However, Sealies are not to be trifled with. If a human should offend or upset them, they won't hesitate to seek retribution, Roger.
Oh no.
So if you're like, nice pointy shoes, idiot, he's going to dunk on you. He's going to show up at your house and dunk all over you. In order to gain favor with the fairies, it was believed that you should only ever use positive descriptors to describe them. Ooh, unlike what I just did. And he'll do a great job of it when he does it, when he gets you. Anyway, just trying to cover my tracks. One should always be mindful of their presence, as they may be listening to your conversations. In southern Scotland, fairies were said to be most pleased with being referred to as Sealy White, which translates to blessed beings.
Okay. That's not too hard to do.
Sealy White was used to refer to fairies not because they were inherently good, but rather to appease them and avoid their wrath. That's good to know. So here's some example of Seelie fairies.
Okay.
Gilly-Doo. We already know about Gilly-Doo. Green hunk of the northeastern forests. There's Lorag. Lorag is a highland fairy specifically responsible for overseeing the making of cloth through all its stages, from loom to fulling.
Those are the two I don't know much about.
That's apparently one of the main parts. The Selkie, as we know, is a person who becomes a seal or vice versa. They are considered to be part of the members of the Seelie court. The Peck, P-E-C-H. Let's give that a little goog, huh?
Yeah, goog it up.
Peck folklore?
I think like the name kind of implies to my brain it has some bird-like features.
Wrong. The Peck were a type of gnome-like creatures in Scottish mythology. They were of short height but extremely strong. They brewed heather ale.
Okay.
I like them. The Wolver. I remember Wolver being something quite dangerous.
Yeah, like a badger.
Yeah, like a Wolverine.
No, not that dangerous.
The Wolver is a kind of wolf-like humanoid.
Oh, is the radar pinging hard?
It's pinging, dude. Ping, 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 ping. The Wolver of Scotland and the Shetland Isles. Wow. Are members of the Seelie court. That's good to know. The Grugach, who I remember has a big part in a cool Hellboy story. Oh, this one's actually on the cryptid fandom.
We got a sighting?
As an Irish word, grugach, which can mean magician, giant, or ogre, but which actually means the hairy one.
Ooh.
Sounds like your friend and mine, Bigfoot.
Irish Bigfoot? Sorry, I got distracted.
Irish Bigfoot. Scottish Bigfoot.
Celtic Bigfoot. Mm-hmm. Gaelic Bigfoot? No, that's down south. This is Celtic.
And the Queen of Elfame, or Elfheim in folklore belief of lowland Scotland. She's the queen of the Elfland. So the Seelie seasons, of course, are summer and spring. They reveal themselves during summer twilight when they embark on magnificent processions across the land.
Ooh.
Although they are less overtly hostile than the wild hunts of the Unseelie court, stay tuned. Their summer fairy raids can still be dangerous to humans who happen to cross their path. Where the word Seelie comes from, so on and so forth. We already talked about that a little bit. The Unseelie court. You ready?
I'm ready for it. I assume
ready for this?
Pretty bad.
The Unseelie court is made up of sinister or malicious fairies who have been exiled from the Seelie court. They are said to be hostile towards humans and will intentionally seek to harm them, even unprovoked. It is important to note that although some fairies are generally considered to be malevolent and unseelie, such as kelpies, there are folktales that suggest a more complex and morally ambiguous side to these creatures. For example, one story tells of a kelpie who gave up its ruthless ways after falling in love with a human girl. Nevertheless, most legends advise us to err on the side of caution, especially with an unseelie fae. Examples of unseelie fairies from Scottish folklore.
All right, let's prepare the people for these horrors. Hit us with it.
Red caps.
Gun.
Red caps.
A lot of my protection advice will just be guns.
Red cap is a type of malevolent, murderous goblin found in the folklore of the Anglo-Scottish border region. They live in old ruins. Old haunted ruins.
Okay.
They have a red hat that is very red, so stained with the blood of people who they kill with their big iron boots.
Oh, they're stomping fools?
Yeah, they're stompy boys. You want to hear my thoughts on that?
I got horrified a little bit by the idea of just this little elf guy like tabletopping you with his buddy and then just stomping your head in.
Yeah, red caps are not They're not as friendly as the name would imply.
Oh, they sound adorable.
I know. And they probably, when you see one, your probably first move is like, oh, a little elf guy. And then he turns around and he's like, horrifying visage. So like in terms of what we were talking about earlier with kind of an energy sphere, this, in my sort of patched together cosmology understanding of spirituality, a red cap would be some sort of malevolent spirit. Perhaps a murder took place in an old ruin, a ghost, basically.
Okay.
An angry one. Maybe bloody footprints were involved in some way. Maybe that has something to do with its manifestation. Who knows? And then the folklore took hold of it and so on and so forth. And maybe, who knows, with, these things being connected to human creativity and human understanding of reality, maybe the folklore gave shape to it. And now it does appear, or has appeared, as some sort of a little man to people before. Anyway. Next up,
good thoughts.
The Kelpie. Scottish folklore, we know a little about this guy. Kelpie is a shape-shifting water spirit that appears as a horse but can also take human form. Generally speaking, you see the horse, people are like, oh, what a beautiful horse, a beautiful wet horse. And I'll have a ride on that, and they go and climb upon it, and they grab its mane, and the mane will usually tangle around their arms.
Oh, trapping you.
And trap you. It'll be like seaweed, some people say.
You can't get seaweed off of you. It's impossible.
Not this kind. And then it runs into the water and drowns you. Next up, we've got Bogles. That's right. Not just the name of a hipster folk rock band anymore. In the Scottish lowlands, circa 1950, a bogle was a ghost, as was a bogey man. And a tatty bogle was a scarecrow used to keep creatures out of the potato fields.
Get out of here, creatures.
A bogle, boggle, or boggale is a Northumbrian and Scots term for a ghost or folkloric being that is tantamount to a boogeyman. That's where the word boogeyman comes from, I think. Perhaps boggart. That was just a guess. I don't know either of those things for sure. Bogey, boggy, or boggy beast. Pretty wild stuff. These words can mean both a devil and an evil goblin. Interesting. We've got the Nuclavy. We've spoken of the Nuclavy before.
Oh yeah, that was shit. I want to say a horse.
Horse type fella.
Okay, good.
Oh yeah, so with the scary, it's a skinned horse with like a man's torso, a man's headless torso growing out of the middle of its back.
When people ask what horrors lie within humanity's brain, these are the monsters I point to.
Yeah, a strange hybrid of man and horse seemingly fused together. Horse,
no skin.
Orcadian folklore. Yeah, no skin.
Never forget, no skin.
No skin for you. Scary, upsetting, frightening. Next up, and the final one they mention, is the Slog. The Slog, Slugh, or Slagnamarb, were the hosts of the unforgiven dead. Zombie hordes, undead hordes. Hosts of unforgiven dead in Irish and Scottish mythology.
Just hanging out, marching on the road.
A particularly feared and evil kind of undead fairy from Celtic folklore that exists as a collection of wicked spirits that fly across the land.
Oh, mobile.
Which brings us to our next segment, the Slog and the Wild Hunt. In Scottish Highlands folklore, the Slog are a group of unseelie fairies, dark-intentioned mythological creatures, and unforgiven human souls. They are considered to be the darkest and most malevolent of all fairy kind. Around the winter solstice, they would conduct a fearsome procession known as the Wild Hunt.
Oh, like in the game.
Exactly. The procession would form a great storm clouds over the land, consisting of unseelie fairies, fearsome riders on horses, and ghostly dogs. The Slog would disorient humans, steal babies, and hunt the dying, taking them to the afterlife. Bummer. So not only are you dying of some 16th century liver disease, now there's a gaunt undead fairy tapping on the window, bidding you take a ride upon my skinless man horse. Ugh. Pretty spooky. Unseelie seasons. The Unseelie court rules over the autumn and winter seasons. Oh, that's nice. They get autumn.
I kind of assumed that's how it went. Your green months for the happy fairies, your brown months for the dark fairies.
The dying of the leaves.
Yes.
Some members, it's weird because I find autumn to be particularly beautiful. And I think that, like, I don't know, maybe there's a beauty in the dying of the summer. That's the death seeping into it.
I do like winter, winter. Yeah, I do enjoy winter.
The Unseelie court rules over the autumn and winter seasons. Some members of the court, such as Kalach Let's see who Kalach is.
Probably a cool dude.
I bet he's in at least one or two romance novels.
I assume he wears a leather jacket and then like has a cigarette. It's not lit yet because of advertising standards, but he's gonna smoke it.
It's a personification of winter in Scottish Gaelic folklore and a counterpart of Calig Nigesig of the Isle of Man. The blue-faced Calig Burr was a daughter of the pale winter sun. Very cool. I need to get a book about fairy religion.
All right, let me go to Amazon. I see a pack of 8. I will send you all 8. It's quite the deal.
No. Calig Burr were believed to have control over the weather, bring storms, frost, and snow. In other cases, the Unseelie court was simply seen as a personification of the harsh winter weather. The cold could be deadly, and the snow and ice could make it difficult to find food and other resources. That is the end of the article, but it's so interesting to me, and I find it all seems to make like a weird degree of sense where it's like, yeah, the winter, and it's like the evils of mankind are banished out into the cold, and the thing that they fear the most is these unforgiven people. It gives a real humanity to the whole process, you know? It's like, be nice. It's our fault when the bad things happen. It's not
a weird empathy for being away from grudges, like the sloth.
Yeah.
They're unforgiven. So like it's really telling you like, please forgive those who you have grudges with, because if they die,
be nice.
You're creating more of these things, and no one enjoys the wild hunt, people.
So doubly unforgiven. All right. And
a lot of humanity.
And that does it for my segment that I'm calling Court Date of the Fairies.
Fairy parking ticket's gonna get your skin flayed if you lose.
Oh, and I'm still, look at this. I'm petting the speaking skull. It fell asleep.
Oh, it's been so long since it fell asleep like that.
It's purring wickedly.
How does that sound?
It's evil. Are you telling me it's not showing up on the mic?
Oh, jeez.
Loud. All right, I'm gonna. Oh, it's gone.
Yeah, no, it appeared literally on my microphone.
There we go. On your microphone. Oh boy.
Oh, it's staring at me.
I was listening the whole time.
That's why you always say nice things about the speaking skull. My segment, I found. You remember how last week I was talking about some mid-strangeness?
Yeah.
I forgot what my segment was, but but the Spotify has the list of it. And I decided to find some true high strangeness of the highest order. So I went on Humanoid Encounters and found the weirdest fucking story I could. And that story is entitled Bald Oompa Loompas Making Love in My Backyard. It is
I like that they tried to class it up a little.
I tried. I already used the F word once, and I'm trying to make us so we don't have to click the explicit filter.
Oh, it doesn't say that. So that is not the title of it.
Oh no, it says says the dirty word.
The word.
The worst word you can say outside of a slur.
Well, it says Trump. Take that. The orange buffoon. That's what I call him.
Expert-Storm 1140 brought this. And once again, the title is Bald Oompa Loompas Making Love in My Backyard, Humboldt County, California.
Hell yeah. Get them, Oompa Loompas.
This event took place on 11/10/24 in Humboldt County, California, U.S. I'd been hearing this terrible chirping, screeching sound for the past 3 nights outside my window. Finally, I got sick of it, so I decided to investigate. I was expecting some dumb bird, but no. I turn my flashlight on and uncover what has to be the single most troubling spectacle to ever meet my eyes in my 29 years of life.
Wow.
What they saw was 2 orange and very naked little creatures doing it in the middle of a zucchini patch.
Yeah. How do you think those zucchinis get made?
This is just bees pollinating, baby.
There ain't nothing you gotta worry about. This is how fairies make the zucchinis happen.
You were all like, why are my zucchinis so large this year? This is why.
Hit them with the flashlight. Let's go, girls.
Just an awful sight altogether. Our eyes met, and they sat there for a second staring at me with what I can only describe as empty-headed surprise. Is that better or worse than them looking at you going, why don't you join us?
Yeah, if they were like into it and they were like, yeah.
Then
almost upsetting thing. What did he say?
Has to be the single most troubling spectacle ever to meet my eyes in 29 years of life.
Oh, funny. Martha, get my gun and my camera.
Our eyes met and they looked deeply surprised, paraphrasing the sentence. Then in an instant, the one on top leapt off and the 2 little guys scurried away from sight in what felt like mere seconds. So like, what did I see? They literally looked like Oompa Loompas from hell. Has anyone seen this, or am I just cursed?
So, Metal Al doesn't respond to me.
Yes, you're not allowed to link to him for some reason. I don't know why.
Could you ask Metal Al to show us a picture of a bald, shirtless Oompa Loompa from hell?
We don't need that.
Oh no.
Because I have the head of one right here. No, when you go down, someone was kind enough, a glitchy McGlitchface, found 2 articles posted in our Humboldt about a similar creature. And up on the YouTube video, my Zoom is acting very slow. Give it a moment to catch up with my click. But I will have the creature up there. And here,
Oh no!
this is the best.
He got.
This is also from, and I will go into the story, OK Consideration -610.
This is incredible.
So this happened 7 months ago. No, 4 months. 4 months ago, Humboldt County was hit by
Charmander cheeseball.
Yeah. 4 months ago, and no one's talking about this in the paranormal communities except for our Humboldt.
Are we breaking the Arcata gnome story?
We are a little bit. I mean, Reddit broke it. This user broke it. OK Consideration 610. You're a hero. Thanks for going public.
Wow. They're gonna try to silence you. Okay, hero.
But we're here telling your story. Don't worry if you die. We will sing your praise.
Unless there's any legal responsibility, in which case we absolve all association with whatever that person's name was.
So there is that. Let's go into their experience. My experience with the Arcata gnome. Excuse the lack of my drawing skills.
It's pretty good.
It's better than I would be able to draw.
Better than a lot of what we've seen out there.
I saw a post made on here showing a picture of what someone thought was possibly an escaped pet monkey in Arcata. So this was happening before, but all the posts I can find right now seem to be from 4 months ago. The animal in the post looked almost identical to something I'd seen about a week ago in my yard at night. Once again, a night sighting. I thought I'd share my own experience with it now that I know I'm not crazy. LOL, whatever that means.
It means laughing out loud.
Oh
my God. I have a lot of apologies to make.
I do. I messed up. Friends, family, coworkers, I'm sorry for my mistakes. Anyway, let's go on. On that fateful night, I had found my dog barking up a storm and jumping on my screen door. I assumed she needed to go use the restroom, but right as I was about to let her out, I saw something moving in my backyard. It was a very tiny creature standing in the grass close to my fence line. I was grasping it was grasping one of the pears that had fallen from my pear tree and was seemingly munching on it.
Oh, unhand my pears, you little creep.
These are my pears for my pear pie. Is that a thing? Pear pie?
Should be.
Okay. I tried to recreate the scene in the drawing above. One more time. Here is that creature so we can all see it together as a family.
Look at that. Look at that weird little thing.
Seems to have 4 fingers.
Is there a chance this is a feral, genetically modified child?
Some rogue scientist with a CRISPR editor seeing what he can create.
CRISPR and an air fryer. I made Charmander. I'm working on a Snorlax.
So they're munching on it. That's what they saw. It dropped the pear and quickly took off after that, and it was pretty fast. I haven't seen it since, so I assume that it must have scared it off for good. Has anyone else seen these gnomes?
Wild.
In Arcata before? My wife calls it a gnome. I honestly have no clue what it is. Well, that's what that first post was. The bald Oompa Loompas. I mean, that's a pretty good description.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the exact same thing. And they out here fucking, y'all.
They fucking. So, this Arcata one, which Arcata is part of Humboldt. I believe it's a small town in Humboldt. They have not seen it since. However, the first post, the Oompa Loompas returned. In a post titled The Oompa Loompas are back, and they have decided to torment me.
These Oompa Loompas are fucking all over the house now.
This post is from 17 days ago and goes as such. These events have taken place for the past few weeks in Humboldt County, California.
This is wild.
A couple of months ago, I made the post about the two ugly-ass Oompa Loompas who were getting down and dirty in my garden. Well, after I caught them in the middle of their evening activities, I thought they were gone for good. For an entire month, I was left without bother, and even found it within myself to move on from the ordeal. I celebrated Christmas with my family and had a pleasant New Year's Eve. And honestly, I forgot about the horrors I had witnessed. Life was okay. But then, without warning, I heard a little ding on my window one night. I looked out and I saw one of them.
Whoa.
He was running away into the bushes like a gleeful little cherub. I ran outside and there was no trace of the little person. What I did find, though, was a tiny white stone laying on the ground below my window. A couple days later, I had heard another ding on a different window. And what did I find? But another white stone. A week later, I had the same thing happen again. At this point, these little assholes have attacked my poor windows 7 goddamn times. Now, I should make it clear that none of the windows have been broken from these attacks, as their throws are seemingly wimpy and their rocks are small. But still, screw these guys. I got a collection of white stones now, and I know they're gonna just keep going, and I know they're gonna just keep adding to it.
It doesn't sound like they're tormenting you. It sounds like they're bringing you presents.
I think this is what we were saying earlier. Instead of I'll say it, a weird way to into it style situation, they're inviting you for a threesome using the ceremonial white rock of menage de trois. I might have said menage a trois.
They're trying to make contact. I think you should put out a plate of the zucchini they love to fuck so much. Get them on film. Let's make contact.
I have other people in the comments saying that they have seen similar things going on. Some comments of you need to put up cameras immediately. It's going to happen again, which I think is smart. And it seems to be a Humboldt County sighting spree. One more time, let me bring up that picture of the gentleman himself, Mr. Orange Head. And it's Oompa Loompa-ish. It's small. It's orange. Those are the things that I attribute to Oompa Loompas.
I mean, it's oomping pretty hard in this picture.
Now, as you might see, the tab next to it is Lion something or other. Lion Tarmanian monkey sounds.
Tamarin.
Look at Tamarin, thank you. Lion Tamarin monkey sounds. And maybe this is what they're seeing. Behold.
Ah.
And this is some of the sounds it makes. So maybe some of the chirping and squeaking could be this.
Yeah. Yeah. People are stupid too.
It's dark, things are very hard to see.
And people are stupid.
But in their defense,
Look up Golden Langer face.
Golden Langer face. Let's do that. Let's get rid of the Wolver here. Golden
Langur.
You are.
Uh-huh.
Oh, jeez. Sir.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It is fierce.
Hello.
So these are pretty good. They're very humanoid-like.
Good afternoon.
Like this where'd that face go? Good afternoon face. That's a good one. There we go. Good afternoon. It's very human.
Yeah.
You know, we're definitely part of the same
Very
family
human.
tree.
Hey, it looks like David Bowie.
But my I guess issue is that doesn't really look like this creature here that has no hair.
That's true. The other one looks much more like it. Although if it was a monkey that escaped from like a lab, it wouldn't have hair. It would be bald from all of the chemicals.
Not necessarily. Maybe it was a nice one that wasn't testing hair stopping formulas.
Oh yeah, they were just doing other stuff.
Yeah, just other horrific stuff.
We're testing cakes on them.
We need to find out if monkeys like cake, and if they do, what type of cakes for their birthdays.
Mm-hmm.
So like we got some
We gotta know
discrepancies in the possible suspect versus what people are seeing.
And we got an outbreak. We got a gnome outbreak.
It's 4 months ago.
Could be a golden langur. Could be what did you call it? A marmoset?
A golden tamarin.
Tamarin. But you know, they're seeing something. They're seeing something out there. And what is a golden tamarin but a bald little Oompa Loompa fucking in your zucchini pot?
And I've done the let's look for news sources to corroborate one thing. And I typed in escaped golden tamarin Humboldt. No news stories at all. So like, take off that. I do have some escaped monkey stories. The Dudley Zoo bush puppies named by visitors.
Bush puppies?
That's not exactly what we were looking for.
The hell a bush puppy?
Escaped capybara cinnamon stars in new children's book. Long story short, there's no stories on escaped golden tamarin. So like the number one suspect in this is not in the news being looked for. I don't think this is a mistaken identity.
Private collector. Can't go
always
to the cops.
Always an option.
Illegal monkeys missing.
It could truly explain maybe some Bigfoot sightings of it when it's hunched over, like some crazy rich collector in Humboldt has a gorilla that escaped.
There's very wealthy people in Humboldt too. Well,
that's my segment. Let me put the skull away.
We'll keep
I think we had fun with that.
Yeah, put it back into its velvet lined screaming box. And we'll thank you guys for listening to another episode of Werewolf Radar. Y'all are the best. If you really liked what you heard today, check us out on Patreon. Please check us out on YouTube, werewolfradar.com. Check us out individually in life and our various creative endeavors.
Join us in our Discord. That's where you can find it kind of grouped together in a nice community of fellow perverted weirdos who think Wolfman has a nice shin. I just find the shin so sexy.
Get in there. There's a special chin subreddit for you to all hang out on, apparently. We'll be providing links on the Discord. Until next time, as ever, our sign-off line for everyone to enjoy. On the count of 3, please join us as we say 1, 2, 3.
Punch the sky, Spaceman Joe.
I almost want Spaceman too.